October 28th, 2019. This is the day that this 31-minute pilot by the name of Hazbin Hotel would find its way onto YouTube. And with its lovable characters, rock-solid premise, and animation so good you couldn't look away, it quickly gained a cult following with millions upon millions of fans desperate for a full show. And after nearly 5 years in development hell, pun intended, Hazbin Hotel has finally been released on Amazon Prime Video, where you can go watch the first 4 episodes for yourself. Watch out, all you Jack Ryan and Invincible fans out there. Now we have a new show on the block, and it's got some juicy lore for us all to sink our sharp teeth into MatPat style. But before we get into it, today's video will dive pretty deep into spoiler territory, so if you haven't watched the show on your own yet, I highly recommend it. Like I said, there's only 4 episodes out right now, so if you've got an Amazon subscription, you really have no excuse. Only 4 episodes may not seem like a lot, but considering how huge this series is already getting, I wouldn't be surprised at all if news for a season 2 renewal comes out pretty soon. Now, with all that being said, there is still a ton of content for us to make theories about. I spent hours watching through all the episodes that are out right now multiple times, including the pilot, and I believe I've found something pretty significant that not enough people are talking about. But before you can understand that, there's something pretty important that I feel I need to get straight right off the bat. At first glance, it's easy to assume that we're telling an entirely new story disconnected from the original pilot. That's typically what happens when pilots are adapted into full shows. But that doesn't actually seem to be the case here. In the beginning of the first episode, Vaggie states that it's been a week since the events of the pilot, when Alastor first showed up to the hotel's doorstep out of seemingly nowhere to help run said hotel because of quote-unquote
sheer absolute boredom.
And when the first episode starts, Alastor seems to already be staying at the hotel, heavily indicating that we're just picking up right where we left off a week after the pilot. This is important because that means the pilot could actually be a viable source of information if we ever need to refer back to it in the future. Okay, so now that we've covered that, let's get into the real nitty-gritty of today's video. This is where most of the spoilers are going to be coming from, so last warning. In episode 2, it's revealed that Alastor had been supposedly gone for 7 years. It's never exactly specified where he went or why he just suddenly shows back up after such a long absence. But we can deduce based on how he acts that he's definitely hiding something that he doesn't want anyone finding out about. A really important detail I want to point out about Alastor is one that's very easy to skim over if you're not paying close attention, but it's actually a very important thing to keep in mind. If you've ever watched the show, you've probably noticed Alastor's cool little radio effect on his voice when he talks.
Well, my dear, I haven't been active in hell for some time, and everyone remembers me from my radio show.
That's awesome in of itself and already adds a ton of depth to his character, but that's not the part I want to point out. The interesting part are the moments when this radio effect goes away. It's ridiculously easy to miss, but it does happen. And if you listen really closely at certain parts, you can hear clear as day. His voice goes back to normal, with no radio effect at all. This must mean that words spoken in this way have some sort of significance over others, and that from here on out, we really need to be paying extra attention for when these sorts of rare events take place. Now that little bit of info is in our arsenal, back to the task at hand. In episode 3, Alastor mentions his absence when he talks to fellow overlord Zestial, and there's a passing comment about theories that the other overlords were coming up with. One of which being that he had supposedly fallen into holy arms. What holy arms exactly are they referring to? Well, if we rewind back to this line from the first episode, it slowly begins to make more sense what's going on here.
Did you hear from your mom yet? Oof, how long has it been now?
Not that long, only 7 years.
Yeah, so apparently Charlie's mother Lilith, the queen of hell, has also mysteriously vanished for 7 years, just like Alastor. So yeah, there clearly seems to be some sort of connection between the two. And there's even some evidence for them possibly being associated with each other all the way back in the pilot. When Alastor first arrives and sees a family portrait of Lucifer, Charlie, and Lilith, his focus seems to linger on Lilith for a bit. This may not seem like much at first glance, but when we're dealing with someone as reserved and mysterious as Alastor, these sorts of little details, like I said before, really do matter. And since we know we're picking up where we left off from the pilot and not starting fresh, we know this is canon. So where's all this going, you ask? Well, I think there's something very important that happened between the two of them when they were both gone. You see, the thing I've never been able to figure out is why exactly Alastor is at the hotel. What's his motivation for being there? Why does he choose to help Charlie regardless of his disbelief in her plan? But after the release of the new series, I think I finally have an answer. And no, I don't think it's boredom. I think Alastor and Lilith made a deal. For Alastor to watch over Charlie and make sure she never succeeds in her cause. Why? Well, there's only one possible reason. She's waiting for Charlie to become more powerful. Yes, you heard me right. This softie is the key to Hell finally being victorious against the angels. How? Well, she's Lucifer's daughter. She should be the strongest of all of them, but as Vaggie says to her, she doesn't command that authority. My theory? Alastor as well as Lilith know full well that Charlie's silly little plan of redeeming sinners will never work. They know that they have a much better chance of victory if they let Charlie eventually snap and show her true power. And if you think I'm crazy, there's already some evidence for this potentially happening soon. Despite how harmless and polite she tries to be, there have been a couple instances where she's slipped up and almost lost her cool. And we can observe when this happens, her voice changes like all the other overlords, which means that she's one of them, if not stronger than them. And from all these clips in the trailer where we see various action sequences and scenes of characters fighting that haven't happened yet, we can assume there's going to be some sort of battle between the two sides. This is even more heavily reinforced by the lyrics in the trailer. We cannot take it anymore. The time has come to go to war. I believe the extermination gets moved up again for whatever reason, and things become urgent, causing everyone to have to up and go to war at some point in the season. But with all that being said, I still don't think this is the tipping point for Charlie. See, another time we see Charlie nearly lose her cool was when she saw Valentino push Angel. Why do I bring this up? Well, there's a brief scene in the trailer that shows Alastor killing two mobster-looking demons that seem to be attacking the hotel. I watched this again and again after I saw the episodes, and I kept having the same question. Why are Valentino's goons attacking the hotel? Isn't this supposed to be a fight between demons and angels? Why are we all of a sudden fighting more demons now? Well, there's only one explanation I can come up with. This is fairly speculative, but I think at some point Charlie snaps and kills Valentino, which leads to his goons attacking the hotel to enact revenge for his death. I mean, think about it. We know Valentino is an overlord and can't be killed by normal demons like Angel. So if anyone has the ability to theoretically do the deed, it would be her. And from what we've seen from her already, it's clearly not that far-fetched to believe that she would do this. For one, they're setting Valentino up to be a real scumbag to say the absolute least. The type of character whose death scene would be a particularly satisfying moment for the audience to witness. I know it would be for me considering what I've seen. In addition to this, they've also been drip feeding us little tiny moments that show Charlie's true potential, just enough to make us want more. Personally, I want to see what kind of demon crap she can do already, and I'm sure many of you agree with me. So what better way to kill two birds with one stone, tie two loose ends at once, than to have Charlie kill Valentino and her morals at the same time, and in turn making her realize her true power. And in the process, setting Angel free from his contract and allowing him to finally try to move on. I have no doubt that this will be when she makes the tough decision to give up her quest of redeeming the people of Hell. Not because she's giving up on them, no, but because she'll realize it'll just never happen in the time frame they're given. Change doesn't happen overnight, and if they're only given a year to change the entire population of Hell, they're set up for failure, especially when they keep moving up the extermination more and more. It's pretty obvious by now that the angels enjoy killing them. Adam literally flat out said it in the song. Extermination is entertainment. So clearly, they're not gonna stop no matter what anyone does, even if they quote unquote redeem themselves, whatever that may mean. And if my theory is correct about the angels moving up the extermination multiple times, I have a strong feeling Charlie will see that too. making it much easier for her to join some sort of resistance team against the Angels. Am I saying Charlie becomes a hardened killer by the end of season 1? No, definitely not. But I do believe she eventually metaphorically dips her toes in a little, whether it's by her own decision or not. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens when the rest of season 1 comes out. But anyway guys, if you enjoyed today's video and want more from the channel, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell for more videos like this. Also, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. I always love to theorize with you guys in the comments. Alright everyone, that's it from me. I love every single one of you with all my heart. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.